Really and truthfully, I am Lord. Really, I am. This is unbelievable. It really is. I want to try. I really do. My dad was up here speaking and talking about me. It just made me get emotional, especially the part where he was talking about how so many things that he could have accomplished. I believe that man would have done it. I believe that. The same, I come from that root. Talking about determination, that's where I got that from. That man would have done it. So I really got emotional with that part because I figured that my papa would have did a lot of the things that I ended up doing. If it wasn't for that man, I don't think I'd be standing here. He and Coach Slaughter, both of those guys standing up here, father number one, father number two. I told Coach Slaughter that earlier tonight, that I would not be here if it were not for you. You played an integral role in that, and I definitely believe that I wouldn't be standing up here tonight if it wasn't for Coach Slaughter. It's really unbelievable. I don't feel like I'm the first or the best, maybe one of the best football players to ever come and play at Carroll, but there's a guy in the audience tonight that I feel like should be here right now, should be first. I was telling him that all last night. We had a little get together last night, and I was like, man, you should be first. You should have been the first one. That guy that just introduced me, Coach Slaughter, I feel like he should be up here instead of me. So I'm really floored, I'm really honored, and I feel humbled to have the opportunity to come up here and to address you all. My pop was talking about my determination, and that's really basically what got me where I am or where I have been. And I'll just share some of that with you. I'll paint a little picture for you. I think this thing about determination just started when I was about 3 or 4 years old. My pops tells me stories, my mom tells me stories of me sitting there and watching a whole football game. Not moving, not being distracted. 3 or 4 years old, sitting there and watching a whole football game. I think about that now, that is pretty strange. I think that's weird. For a 3 or 4 year old to have that kind of attention and to be so fixated on one thing, I think it's pretty strange. It's pretty weird. I carried that on even when my pops was not there. I'd be running around the house throwing the football up. I had my white socks on all the way up to the top because I watched the Cowboys all the time as a kid. And it was facts, and I didn't know that at the time. So the football players, they had the long white socks they had to take going around. And I just thought it was socks. So I pulled my socks all the way up, running through the house, throwing the football in the air, running around, running. Mama, boy, stop that. Stop that. Why stop that? I would tell Mama, I'm going to play football. I'm going to play football for the Dallas Cowboys. And I just went on and on and on and on with that. And Christmas came around. My mom used to love shopping the Speakers catalog. She'd be in the Speakers catalog, and I was right there over her shoulder, looking at it. We'll go through the toy section. Hey, I'm okay. Dallas Cowboy uniforms. And I harassed that lady until she got me that Dallas Cowboy uniform. So from the very beginning, from what I've been told, that's just been in me. That's just been in me. We moved to West Coast when I was about 7 years old, 7 to 8 years old, and there were some pretty rough kids over there in that area, West Side. Pretty bad, rough kids. Even at the time when we were growing up there, it was a little bit more tame, but there was some pretty rough kids there. I remember my first experience with football there. I'm a new kid on the block. Nobody knows me. And there was a bunch of kids around there at that time. And we're in the park. We're getting ready to play football. Or they were getting ready to play football. They pick up teams. Nobody picked me. What? I don't play football. I'm sorry. So the other kids, they start playing. I'm just in the way. I'm just in the way. I'm just in the way. And one of the little boys had to go home. So I was like, come on, we can play this. They threw me the football. I took off, and I was never not picked again. There were some rough times growing up over there. That situation, that environment, just was really not conducive to doing anything beyond what you could see today. And that's just the way it was over there. I had some pretty bad teams over there. We had lost a lot of guys to grades. environment that's not what is pushed over there in that area. So we lost a lot of kids, and I was talking to some people last night. There were kids better than me. I promise you. I played with about 3 or 4 kids in my own classroom that could run faster, jump higher. They were better than me, but they just couldn't get it together by grades. I finished up there, moved to Tom Brown, 9th grade. We won the city championship there, and that's when I think my life turned around as far as football. I always had it in my mind that I wanted to be a pro football player, that I was going to play pro football. And it kind of went away when we were in the West Side. Kind of just went away, went to the back burner. So then I get to Tom Brown, I get around all these other kids that have aspirations for the future. They're looking at going to college. They're looking at being a doctor. They're looking at being a lawyer. And one of my tightest friends, when I first moved to Tom Brown, was sitting at that table right over there, Brooks Kirchner. Me and Brooks were like this. From the time I went to Tom Brown until right now, me and Brooks were like this. And Brooks' mom had the thing, Brooks is going to be a pro baseball player. Brooks is going to be a pro baseball player. Brooks is going to be a pro. So then that started to bring that back up in me. We won the city championship in 9th grade, Tom Brown, and from that point on, that was my mission, to be a professional football player. So everything I did was geared toward that. My grades, my behavior, working out, running, doing anything that I could do to make myself a professional football player. And I stuck with it, and I just drove and I just dug into it. 11th grade, we ended up winning the district championship. We lose to Judson. That wasn't pretty. That wasn't pretty at all. But we lost to them, and I really felt like I could play with those kids. I didn't have no problem with any of those kids. Coach started asked me when I was a sophomore, during the off season, we used to do mat drills and stuff like that. And we had a lineman, left tackle, Marty Cavazos, was 270 pounds. We used to do wrestling. We'll wrestle against each other. Marty stepped on the mat. Come on. I got in there too, and got with him. I've always just felt like, show me. Please show me what you got. He was talking about the LBJ game. That's how I felt. These kids, I know these kids got some talent. Please show me. I want to see what you got. Please show me that you're better than me. I just felt like that. I felt like that. So from that point in time, excuse me. But from the point in time on when I got a chance to get around these kids over here, Carroll High School, Tom Brown, Carroll High School, I just felt like that was something I was going to do. Fortunate enough to be able to play behind Tiandre Sanders, who brought a whole bunch of college scouts to the area. And I think I can say this. They came to see Tiandre, but they got wind of me. Because I had people coming from all over the country to come and see me the following year. I went to Missouri, I took a trip to Penn State, went to UCLA, and Texas A&M, just to weigh out my options to see if I wanted to stay close to home, then I'd have that available to me too. I ended up going to UCLA. I was a freshman All-American cornerback at UCLA. I started my redshirt freshman year, played my sophomore year, played my junior year. I was honorable mention All-American in my junior year. Well, we played against some pretty good people, and we had just got done playing against Washington State. And Drew Bledsoe was the quarterback of Washington State at this time. Drew Bledsoe ended up being the #1 draft pick in the draft that year. Drew Bledsoe was 9 for 23, 108 yards, 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions against us. After that game, I was just like, we are good. The guys in the back are good. My defensive back coach came up to me and was like, are you going to quit? Are you going to quit? Because we didn't have an offense at that time. We ended up giving them 30 points, and it was all due to the offense or mistakes that the offense had made. And I was like, no, I got something I need to do. I'm not going to quit. It's not time for me to close up shop yet. I still got one more step to take. I'm trying to make it to the league. I'm trying to make it to the league. And I just kept driving at that. I did everything that I could do to get myself there. My boss was saying earlier, I was in one magazine supposed to be number 10 pick in the draft. Ended up breaking my ankle. My mind was, I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to do it. My ankle healed. I went and worked out. Ended up getting drafted in the 5th round, basically off what I did my junior year, and just really felt blessed in that. I didn't have a really good experience in the NFL. I did meet some good people, but my best experience has been through playing arena football, and those were the best kids that I ever come across. And I'm still pretty tight with some of those guys. But really, and truthfully, I'll just tell you my determination more than anything else that has gotten me here tonight. I am really, truly humbled to be here, and I think I'm gonna cry.
On behalf of the Tiger Athletic Foundation, Carl, is a small token of this really wonderful honor for you. And I like it, the picture in particular, because you're ripping red.